Hey, everybody, and welcome to episode 2 of The Split, a young adult podcast, book review podcast for readers and writers. I'm Bryan Cohen, author of the Ted Saves the World series. That's Robert Scanlon. Well, I guess it's really here the way it records. Author of the Dreamer Chronicles. We're wearing the same clothes because we tape 2 episodes in a row twice a month. So don't think that we're just... This is our podcast episode, podcast outfit or something. But how are you doing 5 minutes after we taped the last episode?
Oh, I'm even better after we taped the last episode. Yeah, we don't want people to think that we don't shower or anything and we just keep wearing the same clothes over and over. I mean, we're good, clean, we're good, clean people here. Yeah,
I think this is a good, clean podcast. I want that to be the first review.
Yes. These guys obviously shower. That's what we want to say.
Obviously shower. Right? They're very interested in hygiene. So today we're talking about James Dashner, James Dashner's The Maze Runner, which just came out as a movie. It's a trilogy with a prequel involved. I haven't read the prequel, but I've read the trilogy, and this book is big. I think the first movie was big, so we know we're going to see the other 2 movies out, which is of course going to push the series. More and more people are going to read it. This book was a lot of fun to read, action-packed. Maybe it's not classic literature or anything, but it's a lot of fun. What did you think of The Maze Runner, Robert?
Yeah, thanks, Bryan. Interestingly, my daughter read it at the same time as I did, and we were both reading simultaneously on our different iPads, and she blasted through it, and she said at the end, she's 11, she said at the end, Daddy, can we get the next one? So we've already got them reserved at the library, and we're kind of, I don't know, rank 20 of 22 or something like that. So they're clearly really popular. I haven't read the whole trilogy you have, but what was intriguing to me was how it captured my daughter's imagination. It's exceptionally plot driven in the sense that, as you say, there's lots of action, there's lots of great characterization. I like the characters in the book. I thought they were really interesting and very varied. The writing is not particularly tight, in fact, and from my point of view, I felt a little disconnected from the main character, Thomas, from time to time, that I felt there was a little too much that was explained, but I forgave it because the story was so intriguing. Did you find it intriguing?
Yeah, I mean, it's such a mystery. It's an action adventure, but it's such a mystery because you're getting these little clues throughout. You've got the wicked, and they say wicked, and Teresa saying wicked is good, and you've got the walls, and they open at certain times, and they have all these maps, and they're all trying to put it together, and Thomas for some reason knows a little bit more. It's a detective story in a way as much as it is an action adventure, and I think that's really the hook of this, is that if there was no mystery and they're just trying to get out of some maze and they figure it out without really these little pieces of the mystery unfolding, it's not really that exceptional. But that's why I think it's intriguing.
Yeah, and the fact that you start right in the middle of the action as well. You know, you're in the box with the protagonist coming up out of the ground, and the movie. I know you haven't seen the movie yet, right?
Yeah, I have not.
In the movie's the same. There's it starts and there's just this massive, loud crashing noise, and there's this guy in this cage thing, and he's hurtling up from the ground, and it's really. I like the fact that a good story has to answer really 2 questions. You really want to think why is this happening, and then the second thing is, well, what happens next? And unless the reader can be stimulated with those 2 questions, it's not really a good story. So for me, as I said, the writing style, I've read better. In episode 1, we talked about Suzanne Collins, and reading the 2 of those books back to back, I think her prose is exceptional. And James Dashner's, well, I think this book was written in 2009, so let's be fair. maybe he's different these days. But the pace of the story and the action forgives it. So yeah, really intriguing, a great mystery, and I'm looking forward to reading the next two in the trilogy.
Yeah, I think you'll. It's a different ending than Hunger Games trilogy, that's for sure. I'm interested. Maybe when the third movie come out, we'll talk about those as well, because I'm already projecting out that we're going to be doing this 2 years from now. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I like to plan for the long term. But I'm interested in, I'm looking at some of these Amazon reviews. Obviously, I have my own opinions on it. But one of the, on Amazon, they have those customers made a similar statement. And 265 reviewers said, I really like what the book could have been, but I found myself frustrated with how Dashner presented things to the reader, often too much tell and not enough show, like you said. Now, we've kind of already jumped into as a writer perspective, just because, as a reader, we said it's exciting. It makes you want to read the next book. So that's kind of our review of that. But as a writer, it's a tough balance, isn't it? Especially when you have so much plot. I think that obviously you could have shown some more internal action from Thomas, but what do you think? If you're writing this book, you're James Dashner, where do you rein these sorts of things in, do you think?
Oh, I would have attached it directly to the action. I think there was so much action in there that you could infer a lot about how Thomas may have been feeling by his behaviour. And so it wouldn't have taken an awful lot, maybe not extra words. I know sometimes if you show more than tell, it can take a lot more words. So there would definitely be some cutting in there. But there are a lot of times where you get these sort of statements of, Thomas felt angry and he didn't know why. It would have been better if it had just gone and thumped something, or kicked over a hut, or for no reason lashed out at Chuck. And that did happen also. So let's be fair to the writer. It wasn't all telling and no showing.
Yeah.
But the balance was a little exceeded for me, and so I would have attached it to the action. There's so much action in there that I think you could have, with a choice description of beats here and there, you probably could have got across more about the inference of how he was feeling, what he was thinking, without having to explicitly explain it and say, hey, this is what Thomas is feeling right now.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. Aside from this having that mystery that drives people in, what do you think it was about this book that made it separate? There's a lot of dystopian fiction out there. It's becoming really popular. What do you think might have made The Maze Runner stick out? And I'm saying, even from a writer perspective of, I want to write the next Maze Runner. I'm not saying this from me, because I'm writing what I'm writing, but someone might want to write the next big thing in a particular genre. Why did The Maze Runner win the lottery on this one?
Well, yeah, that's a great question. What does make anything viral? But let's come down to something I think that is really stand out about the story, and maybe this is one of my takeaways for this book, which is that the setting itself is a strong character in the book, and so the creative limitations of the action are really dictated by this intense claustrophobia. So I would suggest to anybody thinking about writing a dystopian story that you don't necessarily think about, it's got to be a fight between good and evil, or the Empire and the rebels. But in this particular case, the entire mystery, at least in book one, is cast by the fact that there's this maze. It's oppressive. It's claustrophobic. They want to get out. They don't know how to get out. It keeps changing on them. And that in and of itself is enough to drive activity.
Yeah. No, that's a great point, and I hadn't written that down or anything, but that is so true, and it's true, I think, of the best books that really get you into the story have such have a setting that really is cemented in there. It's not just, oh yeah, and they were in here, they were whatever. Giant maze. The sounds of the maze crunching against as it's closing. The solid feeling. It's very sensual. You've got the five senses in there. That might be what really sold it for a lot of people. I think you're right. And also something to mention from a writer perspective, the cliffhanger. It resolves very little and just sends you into book 2, and then that sucker punch of an epilogue at the end. The memorandum from Wicked. When I most of these books I listen to on Audible. When I listen to that, I got a little angry, and I got a little I needed to read the second book. So bravo to that. There's so many people that say don't write a cliffhanger that's going to piss off your readers. But then again, a cliffhanger like this, obviously, this book has a lot of readers. So the cliffhanger didn't hurt it in that respect.
And let's be fair. I mean, the premise of chapter 1 is resolved. It's how do we get out of this maze? I want to be a maze runner. I'm going to get people out the maze. And so it's not as if the cliffhanger is because the overall arc of book 1 isn't resolved. It's because it's setting you up to go into book 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah, it's for me, I smiled and raised my eyes, and when I read it, because I actually I didn't listen to it, I read it, and I said, okay, I like it.
Yeah.
But maybe it's got my daughter going as well. Said, Daddy, we've got to get the next one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I agree, and I don't know. I think cliffhangers, there's a lot you can do with them as a writer. You should consider them, and some writers who are just starting out maybe consider writing them in all your books, because you need people to read your whole series, and that's the way, as a writer just starting out, that's the way you're going to find those true fans right at the beginning. So
too true. I'd add one caveat, which is at least test the cliffhangers with some beta readers first, because there's a definite fine line between making something exciting enough to want to go forward into the next book, but really irritating people because the cliffhanger was not a resolution or mismatched.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Check out, pass things along to your beta readers, even if it's your spouse. It's always a good idea for someone to look at your work beforehand. So, takeaways. We've already said a couple of things, we could spell them out, but I really think having if there's a mystery at all that's part of your book, seed little clues throughout the whole thing and make sure it's compelling, because if you at any point in this book get bored of the action, you've got the mystery that makes you want to keep going. So, not that I ever got bored with the action, but what do you think?
Yeah, I think to carry on from that as well, that if you're going to have a big dystopian mystery, as there is in this book, then as you pointed out, make it big. I mean, this is not just some pishy little maze. These are giant, awful walls that are capable of crushing people if you don't move in the right instant, and they're covered with these vines or these little bugs that run everywhere. There's these grievers that rip people apart. I mean, he's clearly upped the stakes. So
yeah,
for me, that made it really fantastical.
Yeah, I totally agree. And another takeaway, that was pretty much the setting right there. But the other takeaway is the cliffhangers, I think, is to really think about it. Obviously, pass it along to your beta readers and whatnot, but a strong cliffhanger can really increase how many people are going to jump from book 1 to book 2, because obviously enough people read this series that they made a movie out of it. So
well, exactly. And they're going to make, as you say, movie number 2 and movie number 3 as well, because it's a good movie.
I do want to see it. It's on the list. It's on the list. In my copious amount of spare time, I will go see.
So, Bryan, do you have a prompt for anyone who's a fan of the Maze Runner and looking for some ideas for their readers group or for writing their next dystopian mystery story?
Sure, I'll put something together real quick because I don't have something written down. Imagine that a part of your life that you can always count on has suddenly disappeared, and a mystery seems to lead you from clue to clue throughout your life to find the answer. Spell out all the different clues that you find along the way and how you solve this mystery.
Ooh, I love that one, Bryan. That's very nice.
Hey.
Very nice.
This one I didn't even write down, so I'll have to write it from the show notes. But thank you guys. It's a fun experiment for me and Robert to see what people think of these reviews, of us tackling these from reader and writer perspective. We'd love for you to leave us a review on iTunes, subscribe to our YouTube channel, which I guess now we should get one, because we don't have one at the time of recording this. But when we do, we'll tell you what that name is. And just let us know what you think of the split. We're hoping to keep this going and make it really fun for people. So feel free to just comment a bunch. And yeah, good show, Robert. Anything else to add?
Yeah, look, if anyone's got suggestions for books they'd like us to tackle, we're both fast readers, fast listeners. We love books. We love young adult books. We love books of all descriptions that are suitable for kids. We both love writing them ourselves. So just send them in. We'll review them. We'll put them to shreds if you want us to. We'll even disagree vehemently on air. There,
yes,
how about that?
We will. Good addition. Very good. All right, guys. This has been great. I'm Bryan Cohen. That's Robert Scanlon, probably over there or over there, depending on how the video goes. This was great. This is The Split, episode 2 in the can, and we will be back next week with another episode. Thanks for watching and listening.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for watching. Somewhere on this page is a subscribe button to The Split channel. We do reviews every week. We would love it if you followed us every single week. Isn't that right, Robert?
That's exactly right. Follow us now. Hit the subscribe button.
Do it.